There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Supercheap Auto East Coast V8 Series Round 4 tonight, coming live from the one and only Phillip Island Motor Racing Circuit. I'm John Van Ree. With me, I've got Mark Duggan. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, very good, John. Quali just kicking off here and traffic jams as usual. So Phillip Island, great track, always producing good racing. So looking forward to this one.
And we might just quickly throw the circuit up while these guys are getting themselves sorted. Starting on the Gardner Straight, downhill through the fast sweeping Doohan corner at 200 kilometres an hour. Pull it up through the Southern Loop, where we then run down into Stoner corner and then pull it up into the fast flowing Honda corner, now called Miller, of course. And then we head down to Siberia, just short of the beach. And then we swing back up the hill through 7 and 8. Past the Hayshed, up to Lukey Heights, where we drop down the hill into the hard braking turn 10 MG corner. Then we sweep under the bridge through turn 11 and then through the fast flowing turn 12 back onto the Gardner Straight. Fast flowing circuit and very, very tough to get 100% right. And you need a good tow. As you can see, these boys already starting to line one up.
Yeah, absolutely right, John. It's critical to get a good run onto the straight here and try and pick up a tow off somebody, especially in qualifying. So I'm not sure who's out in front breaking the air for everyone, but looks like we've got a few Vermeulen Motorsport cars line astern there. So whoever's that lead car is doing his teammates a favour, which is what teamwork's all about.
It looks like it might be Rattray White, who's come and joined the series this season. And definitely looking to set the scenes there. Teo still has to fix up some of his details, of course, as he's part of the ex-Altus group that have switched over to Vermeulen, Mark.
Yeah, exactly. Big talking point there, John. Vermeulen coming on strong with some new drivers and new sponsors, which we will talk about as the night unfolds. But yeah, looking like a very big package and a very big build for that team.
Yeah, definitely all sponsored by Jack Doohan as well, which is another interesting talking point. Australian F2 legend and Alpine reserve driver. Definitely things happening over at Altus. Sorry, not at Altus and now at Vermeulen. Dylan Rudd back into pit lane. Robert Gibbs has popped into P2. A great little result for Robert. Of course, Robert won his first race in the Pro Series the other week back at Sebring. He'll definitely be looking to use this as a good hit out leading into the next round of the series as the leader.
Yeah, big congrats to Robbie Gibbs. Very solid driver, works hard. Always very nice guy to talk to, post-race interviews, etc. So yeah, big congratulations to him for that win, and yeah, best of luck to him and the team tonight. But at the moment, we've got our usual protagonist out in front, James Scott, on a 127.484.
Yeah, doing quite well there. And of course, Togo is doing a little bit of quick homework here. Just trying to tidy up a few things as we get little bit further into qualifying.
Yeah, I
And
had to refresh my paints, John, with Teo swapping teams. When I first came in, he was in the old Altus livery, but now I've got him in the current Vermeulen livery, and the livery looks pretty nice as well, I must say.
and let's get those two boys into the right groupings there. Hopefully that'll fix some of my issues. As these guys in the pit lane here for a quick run again. Just going to have a very quick look at the overall points tonight, running late, of course, with the turbo being sped up early due to maintenance coming in the season. Scott Gamble's leading the series on 528. Jacob O'Reilly on 515. Anthony Visma sitting in P3 overall on 486. Title 80, 480. Zach Flassbomb 480. Greg Sharp on 472. And then Mulford on 468. Very quick flash to the Pro Series led by Gamble, O'Reilly, Delaney sitting in third. Great to see the minnow that high up at the moment. Of course, these don't have any of the drop round information in it yet. Super 2's being led by Tim Mulford from Greg Sharp, with Stephen Lawrence sitting in P3. John Fillingham from Veteran Gaming Australia, P4. And the veterans, of course, being led by Scott Gamble, Greg Sharp, John Fillingham, Stone Street, Reg James. So that's just a quick overview of the point structure, as these guys would be starting to shape up for their last crack at it this time round. And to answer your question, Dave Baldock, yes, David Worrell is the safety car driver this evening.
Yep, just on 3 minutes ago here, so this is the last shot for everybody in qualifying. We've got James Scott, Dylan Rudd, Robbie Gibbs, Scott Campbell, Sean McNamara, Brenton Hobson, finally getting a good quali lap in after a few weeks of not being able to set a time, so that's a good result for Brenton. Teo Serrano in 7th, Jacob O'Reilly 8th, Zach Rat Ray White in 9th, and Ty Delaney, the young minnow, doing very well in P10 at the moment.
Yeah, it's definitely shaping up to be a good race, this one. Phillip Island always turns it on in the supercars, as we can see the parking slot again. Everybody lining it up to go round. And down into MG. We'll just stay with James Scott at the moment. Seems to be where the battle is at. And Delaney, of course, doing quite well for where he is. It's Scott heads down the Doing straight. Sees teammate Dylan Rudd just far enough ahead so that he can get the toe. And down into Miller, hard on the brakes. Look, sitting behind him, Scott Gamble, championship leader, getting himself in a wily position. Try and maximise on the two cars in front from Lob Esports. And Pastor Hayes shared up. Lukey Heights. Balance the car, get on the gas, ride it over the hill, hard breakdown into MG. Got a bit of a parking lot in front here. Will this affect Scott at all? Gamble looks like he's had an off behind. And Dylan Rudd down the Doing straight. Does he improve his time? He does with a 127.445. Dylan Rudd in second with a 127.711. Gibbs is still in the pit lane. Briggs is sitting back in fourth. Jacob O'Reilly, he has only managed to get himself into fifth. Zach Ratro White, he's only managed to get himself in the ninth, with Teo Serrano in 10th. So the New Vermeulen boys getting themselves on the board fairly quickly here. And Sean McNamara in 6th. Ty Delaney back in 11th. Tim Mulford leading out the Super 2 drivers in 12th, with Zachary Vlasbom and Logan Barnett tucked a bit further back. Anthony Visma is the next man on track, as I've gone that for some reason. So Visma all the way back in 16th. He probably would have been hoping for a bigger shot up the board, but not to be. Of course, we've got quite a few pro drivers in using this as part of their build-up to next week's Pro Series race here at the island. So definitely rolling back through the list. We'll just hopefully get on the board in a minute. There's a few of them heading in. Will Buchan going across the line. 128.865, leaving him in 18th, just behind Troy Stone Street. Reasonable time there for Will. As we just wait for the server to go dead. Steve Tonkin on circuit tonight as well. Reg James ducking into the pits. Going to be an interesting one, Mark.
Yeah, just looking at them times, John, there's only, half a second in between first and 11th spot, so there's not a lot in it. Very competitive times right through the field there. So, yeah, should be a cracking race, I think.
Yeah, looking forward to it, to be honest, as these guys will all bring their A game to this track. As we'll see if I can get that grid up on the screen tonight, and it works. So on pole position from Lob Esports, James Scott lining up alongside his teammate Dylan Rudd. And then on the second row, we have Robert Gibbs from Evolution Racing Team lining up alongside Adam Briggs from Synergy Sim Racing. Jacob O'Reilly from Vimula Motorsport sitting in 5th, lines up against 9.5 Sim Sports El Supremo, Sean McNamara. In 7th, we've got 9.5 Sim Sports Scott Gamble lining up alongside Synergy Sim Racing's Brenton Hobson. Zach Rattray White from Vimula Motorsports in 9th, lines up alongside Teo Serrano in 10th. In 11th, we have Ty Delaney lining up alongside the leading car in our Super 2 Series, Tim Mulford. Great job from Tim to get himself in 12th. On the next row, we have Zachary Vlasbom from Vermeulen lining up alongside Logan Barnett from Evolution Racing Team. Alan Dawson from Right Sim Racing in 15th, lines up alongside Anthony Visma from Accelerate Sim Racing. And then we have Troy Stone Street from WK&P in 17th, lining up alongside Will Buchanan from Big Bear Racing. And then Greg Sharp from WK&P in 19th will line up alongside David Coleman from Fishy Motorsports. In 21st, we have Martin Lofthouse from JWM Esports lining up alongside his teammate Steve Tonkin. And then in 23rd, we have Veterans Gaming Australia's Matthew Shanahan lining up alongside Rusty Gander. And to finish out the grid, we've got Reg James from WK&P in 25th, lining up alongside John Fillingham in 26th from Veteran Gaming Australia. Dean Favell from WK&P didn't set a time. Richard Varela is our race control, and our DSO is Dave Worrell, who is also our safety car driver this evening. That is our grid all lining up. So I think it'll be interesting to see. Start here will be very important. And it'll be interesting to see how these guys go in through the Southern Loop for the first time. One of those parts of the circuit where we usually see a bit of chaos, Mark.
Yep, absolutely. It's always tightly bunched up all the way through Southern Loop down into, I was going to say Honda, but it's now something else.
It's Miller.
Miller Corner, sorry, complete brain fade there.
No, you're right.
So yeah, it's going to be very tightly packed all the way down there. We always see a little bit of contact, so fingers crossed the boys can keep it nice and tidy and we get a good opening stanza.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. A few of these boys are pretty keen at this place. I'm expecting big things from Gibbs. He drives quite well in Scops races that we've seen here previously. And of course, James Scott, Dylan Rudd. This is a Dylan Rudd circuit where he always performs. So I expect him to take it to James tonight, I think.
Yeah, Dylan's always performed well here. Even with his previous team, he always showed good pace. We're just about to jump.
And lights are out. We're away. Great jump from James Scott. He's definitely gotten the wood on Rudd this time. It's coming down. Gibbs switches from the right to the left side of the circuit. Probably not a good spot to be out wide through Dewan. You can see a little bit of a back off there. It's going to cost him a little bit. Toyo Serrano's involved in something. We'll come back and look at that a bit later. As Scott, Rudd, Gibbs, Briggs, McNamara on the move as well. This is a great start for a few of these lads. Still too wide in the further back. Ducking down in towards Miller Corner for the first time. Let's see who's good. Hard under brakes. Try and pull these cars up as best they can. Go a little bit further back. It looks like they're all going to part their way through quite well. Usually another parking lot. And that's Panam. We've got one of the JWM. It looks like Tonkin's around in the background. But all still tightly bunched up in the front. Coming up to Lukey Heights for the first time. So the lead three cars broken out about a car length from Briggs. Briggs still has McNamara tucked up behind. Down into MG. Hard under brakes. This is a tough track on cars.
Still got Toyo Serrano stranded in the middle of the front straight here. I'm not sure if the safety car's been called.
No, I don't think the safety car's on track yet, Mark. So let's see what's going to go on there. So I've just lost that down the front straightaway for the first time. And Teo is definitely still stranded there, and he's just towed. So let's say we've had some safety car issues to contend with as well for the boys in race control.
It looked like Teo stalled it on the grid, and he just got clipped on the left-hand side by somebody, and then clipped on the right-hand side by somebody. So really unfortunate for Teo with starting with his new team with us at East Coast here tonight. But racing is still hotly contested up front. We've got James Scott in front, and he's got his teammate right behind him, Dylan Rudd.
And Robert Gibbs, he's not letting them get away. He is taking it to them.
Yeah, Briggsy hanging on to a couple of car lengths back for Briggsy, but if these boys keep fighting amongst themselves, won't be long before Briggsy's tucked up right under Gibbs's wing either. So yeah, it's very, very tight at the front here.
Just going to have a look at Jacob O'Reilly. He had an off-track lap 2 here. Not sure what's happened there. Car's just twitched a little bit. Looks like he's got it back under control. And taking a long way through Miller Corner to get it back on the track. But gets himself going safely.
Yeah, unusual mistake there from Jacob. Usually very, very tidy driver. I'm not sure what happened there. It was very, very unlike him and very unusual off at that point of the track. It didn't look like he was completely out of control. There might have been a car in front of him that just caught him out.
And it's going to go back to that lap 1 at Miller with Steve Tonkin. Just get it from a different perspective. So it's like a little tap inside. There's unsettled Russell Gander, I think. Creating a little bit of a knock-on. We'll leave that one for race control to sort out. But up front, still these three boys going hard at it. So definitely Robert Gibbs in the box seat here. Getting the tow from all of these cars around him.
Yeah, I've got no doubt fuel saving will be the name of the game for Gibbs and Briggs and Sean McNamara. They're close enough to be able to pick up a tow and save some fuel, and that may help them out in the pit stop strategy. But as we know, James Scott just has this ability to just punch out consistent laps over the whole stint that are just within a couple of tenths of each other, I think that's what sets him apart from everybody else at the moment, is his ability to just keep punching out them numbers.
Yeah, definitely. Teo Serrano had no gears on the start.
So hardware issue, nothing worse than getting ready to go, and yeah, you end up with a hardware issue that you cannot do anything about on the grid.
Gibbs here hanging onto the back of these Lob Esports drivers. And a little bit of a gap back to McNamara after Briggs. Starting to open up a little bit. Gamble 1.42 behind. Bring up the battle box so we all can see. The race starting to settle down a little bit here on lap 4. 57 laps tonight, 2 compulsory pit stops. This stage of the race, you just want to settle in. You're Robert Gibbs, get that toe, make it easy on the fuel. And might just go back, have a look at a few of the other battles. Logan Barnett tucked up behind Zachary Vlasbom. Definitely closing in on that. And a little bit of a gap behind, back to the Viz. Anthony Visma battling away with Timmy Mulford and Dave Coleman hanging on. Great to see Dave up in 14th.
Yeah, Dave's a big mover of the night so far. He's up 6 places, up from 20th into 14th. So nice job there from Dave. He's sitting behind Anthony Visma and Tim Mulford. And we all know or Tim with a bit of a lock up into Miller. Just manages to hang on to it. Visma trying to get a run on into Siberia, but Tim closes the door.
And has to do it all again. Let's go a little bit further back. Greg Sharp. He is chasing Troy Stone Street, but under a fair bit of pressure from Martin Lofthouse. Martin finishing in the top 10 last week. And of course, Alan Dawson tucked up behind him there. Matthew Shanahan, he's under a bit of pressure from Dean Flavel and Reg James in front.
Yeah, good to have Dean Flavel here, long-time Vets member and very, very nice guy. Very quiet, but goes about his racing in a very smart way, minds his own business, keeps out of everyone's way, doesn't get too many incidents, and just drives past people as they fall off the track, basically. And he's a very, very smart driver, Dean, and like I say, he's a genuinely good guy.
Tucked up behind here, trying to get around Matthew Shanahan. So we'll keep an eye on that battle. Might just work our way back up to Ty Delaney. He has, of course, Vlasbom and Barnett behind. That battle tightening up a bit more as well. And it looks like the Viz might have got past Tim Melford as well.
Yeah, Visma's pass. Ty Delaney, he's doing a good job. He's up 2 spots into 9th, so he snuck into the top 10 there. And he has got Brenton Hobson just in front of him. So Brenton's stayed stationary. He's stayed in the spot he started from, just in front of Brenton. Zach Rattray White is up 2 spots. So some good moves going on in and around the top 10, but yeah, the young minnow doing an excellent job out there.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's going to go back up the front, still nicely bunched up. Getting the tow here is our lead 3 cars, all tucked up behind James Scott, Dylan Rudd and Robbie Gibbs. Adam Briggs just starting to fall off, a bit more than a second back now. I wouldn't want to drop too much more because then he's going to start losing any opportunity of a tow.
We know how hard this place is on tyres, John, and it's very, very, very easy to destroy your tyres early on here. So tyre management is absolutely crucial for each stint you're out there. Robbie Gibbs really putting the pressure on Dylan Rudd at the moment.
Yeah, he's doing really well. Very interesting circuit with this undulating changes. See coming down into MG, right up the back.
Yeah, very interesting track and a very interesting landscape. I remember many years ago I went to a V8 race there with my brother, and by about midday it was about 39 degrees, and then by about 12:05 it was like 12 degrees. Things change very quickly down there.
Oh yeah. Bass Strait is an unforgiving place. As you can see, he's just hanging on here, Robert Gibbs. Looks like Rudd has closed up a little bit on Scott as well. And these three now got that gap out to Adam Briggs to 1.2 seconds. So definitely starting to extend that a little bit. Briggsy is probably about a second and a bit up the road from Sean McNamara, who has dropped Gamble. And Zach Rattray Wright's a further 2 seconds back from them. The race starting to settle now, and we'll start to see how some of this plays out strategy-wise with fuel saving. So you're looking around about 19, 20 laps for a split strategy. So these guys will be about halfway through their set at the moment.
Jacob O'Reilly tucked up in behind in this battle pack with Coleman, Mulford and Anthony Visma after he's off, so he'll be looking to try and clear these boys as quickly as possible, but he may have some difficulties getting past Tim Mulford. He's not the easiest man to pass, that's for sure.
Nah, definitely not. But getting the run on coming down into doing up the inside.
Makes a liar out of him. He gets it done quite easily, or not easily, but quite cleanly and very quickly. So well done there to Jacob. We know what a quality driver he is. He now sets his sights on Anthony Visma.
So the car with Doohan on the side, getting the job done at Doohan. Ooh, bit of a lock up there in front. Looks like
been Ty Delaney, I think.
A good little battle pack here, but Delaney under a lot of pressure from Vlasbom.
Well, Vlasbom's managed to get past, so possibly a little error there. It doesn't take much to pinch a breakdown into Miller Corner, a very high speed approach, and really need to pull the car up quickly.
And down into MG. A little bit of a move in the back there from O'Reilly, trying to get it done on Visma.
Got past momentarily, but went a little bit too deep. Visma got the over and under and just came straight back past him. So a little bit of frustration there for Jacob, I'm sure, but he got another lap to try and work on it and get it done.
Mulford this time with the run. Doesn't quite get it done though before doing. Good little battle between these guys at the moment.
Yeah, and it goes to show, John, there's no gimmies here. It's like you got to work for every position in this series, and even in the mid-pack, if you're one of the front-running drivers, it's still difficult to make your way forward. Looks like Ty Delaney, another pinch break into Miller again, almost allowing Barnett to sneak past, but Ty manages to hang on.
And O'Reilly this time gets it done up the inside of Visma through Siberia.
Visma really wanted to fight that, but I think he did the right thing there in the end and just allow O'Reilly through. Logan Barnett a little bit wide.
Mulford now all over the back of Visma.
And this has allowed Dave Coleman to get back onto the back of these after he had moved aside to let Jacob O'Reilly through. So, yeah, Dave getting right back on the back of Timmy Mulford as well. Very, very tight little battle pack, this one.
Yeah, and I was just noting that Stone Street's starting to move into the back of this group as well.
Yeah, with Logan Barnett with that slight mistake, that's allowed Jacob O'Reilly to pick up the back of him quite quickly, and of course that Jacob has taken all the rest of the drivers in this battle pack right up to the back of that car as well. So small mistakes cost big things around here. Oh, Vlasbom with a big lock up and goes off at Miller. That allows Ty Delaney through, and it allows Barnett, O'Reilly, Visma, Mulford, Coleman all onto the back of Vlasbom now.
This train definitely tightening up.
Yeah, it's getting the carriage added at every station here.
Of course, lap 11 of 57. Still not even a third of the way through the race at the moment. Big dive down MG. Side by side here, Logan Barnett. Plenty of experience in that Evolution racing car. And tucks in behind O'Reilly. Oh!
Really compromised his entry and exit there.
Very easy to throw it away from that position. Did very well to hang on to that one.
Yeah, car stepped sideways big time there, and he just gathered it up. Lots a little bit of momentum, allowed Visma to sneak through.
And just going to drop up here, and you can see Robbie Gibbs tucked well and truly up behind Rudd. Rudd still tucked up behind James Scott. So the battle up the front hasn't changed. It's still tight. Good battles everywhere here tonight.
Briggs, that gap with Briggs has opened up slightly, but it hasn't grown a lot since we last talked about it. So he's about 1.8 seconds off the back of Robbie Gibbs.
Definitely still within a shot. It's going to go back, check Mulford and Coleman and Barnett.
Sean McNamara seems to be struggling. He's got Scott Gamble, his teammate, who has managed to get right onto the back of him now. Not sure if Sean made a mistake somewhere, but Gamble has closed that gap significantly. It was out to about 1.8, 1.9 seconds, and now it is 0.
Yeah, definitely closing very, very quickly. And Mulford with a mistake as well, somewhere in the middle there with Barnett. So it's going to look what happened to Logan Barnett. We did just tick away from that battle. And Barnett. He loses it. Oh, big one. Barnett loses it coming off the curb, coming out of Miller, and clips Mulford. That is a tough one. I leave that one. Actually, I got that wrong. Actually, that wasn't Miller. I think that was coming out of MG.
Yeah, it was out of MG, John.
Yep. But still, tough one for race control. As we jump back onto this battle here at the moment. And James Scott has put his foot down. Because Robert Gibbs has gotten past Dylan Rudd. So we might go back, have a look at that move on the Supercheap Auto replay. This is down. A little bit of contact.
Yep. Yeah, Dylan's called that one into race control to have a review on that.
And we'll go back to live pictures. So let's see what happens with that one.
Yeah, not sure about that one. Didn't look like Robbie was fully in control of his car, so I'll leave it up to race control, but we may see a redress issued there.
And Gamble has got past McNamara now. Boss has let his gun go through and then tucked himself up behind.
At lap 14, we're not that far away from the pit stop starting. Next 4 or 5 laps. Oh, Gamble with a massive lock up at Miller and runs well and truly off track there and loses a ton of momentum and just one spot to his team boss, Sean McNamara.
Bringing Hobbo a little bit closer into play. So Brenton Hobson now close enough to get the toe off Gamble. And Zach Rattray White hanging on in the background there. Doing a cracking job.
And we've got a pretty big gap there after Rattray White to Ty Delaney. It's about, we're looking at about 6 seconds.
Yeah. So the leading boys now starting to spread their legs a little bit. It's just going to keep an eye on Robbie Gibbs. He's starting to come under a bit of pressure from Dylan Rudd.
And of course, this has allowed James Scott to stretch his legs a little bit and open up a bit of a gap. The gap's out to 1.6, 1.7 seconds. So James will be hoping that he can just extend that a little bit further and break that toe.
And Adam Briggs just hanging on in the background here. He's back to about 1.3 seconds behind.
That little bit of contact, John, with Gibbs and Rudd has brought Adam Briggs right back into this battle.
Yeah, he'd be quite happy with that. So Riley and Vlasbom into the pits early.
I think with O'Reilly having that off earlier in the race and losing quite a few positions, he's probably looking to maybe get a bit of an undercut on the cars in front of him to try and give him some track positions post pit stop.
And just watching here, the Big Bear racing Will Buchanan getting the job done on Tim Mulford. Well, one of the bigger improvers going into this season. Making his way in our Super 2 class. And goes a little bit loose there coming out of Lukey Heights, but manages to keep it together through MG.
Yeah, it's a shame for Timmy Mulford. He was showing good pace tonight, qualified well and was racing well and just unfortunately got caught up in somebody else's incident. None of his own doing, but hopefully Tim can bounce back. He's obviously got good speed here, so fingers crossed he can do a good job to the end of the race and bounce back up into the top 15.
Just looking here where Vlasbom and O'Reilly have come back out. A little bit of traffic. Form of Reg James. So probably not enjoying being held up with their fresh tyres. And drive-through penalty for Logan Barnett. Contact with 085. That's our first penalty we've gotten through. That was that contact with Timmy Mulford from earlier.
Yeah, Logan just losing control of his car there, exiting MG on the ripple strip. Car just stepped sideways and took out another car, so yeah, drivers need to remain in full control of their cars at all times. So raise control, deeming that enough of an incident to issue a drive-through, so bad luck for Logan, but yeah, it did cost Timmy Mulford a lot.
Yeah. As have a quick look here at Robert Gibbs. Definitely doing very well. He's got a car off. I think that was Rattray White with a short one. Southern Loop. A few others, Dawson and Buchanan now. And of course, Martin Lofthouse in the middle of this one as well. Tim Mulford trying to latch onto the back of this battle. Ooh, Dawson up the inside of Lofthouse here. And too wide going into Siberia. It's going to cost him a little bit. Buchanan having a look up the inside. They might just go a little bit further back from Timmy Mulford at the back of this group here. Then 8 seconds down the road is Dean Flavelle. He's battling with Shanahan. He gets a bit loose going down into MG. Dean slowly working his way through the field. Delaney and Visma into the pits now as well. And we're starting to see some more of these first pit stops coming into play. People looking for the undercut.
Yeah, we're on lap 18, John. So as you said, split that race. You're looking around 18, 19. So just as we thought, drivers starting to make them compulsory pit stops.
Still battling away. What we might do though, I've just got a work issue. What we might do, you might just jump on with Dylan Rudd tucked up in behind here, and we might just listen through for a lap on board. Nice and balanced. And a redress coming through as well. A bit loose by Dylan, getting it out a bit wide there.
As we thought, John, the redress was issued from race control from Robbie Gibbs to Dylan Rudd, puts Dylan back in second. Just looking out of Dylan's cockpit view, I don't think it's the Seagulls, it's Phillip Island, but that windscreen's pretty dirty.
Yeah, good little battle here. Zach Rattray White into the pits. Is going to jump on again with the main man himself, Will Buchanan from Big Bear Racing, as he's just putting the move on Martin Lofthouse. Here's a great drive from Will tonight, up 8 spots. And I do just have to step out for 1 second.
Yeah, absolutely. Will doing an outstanding job, up 8 spots in a very competitive field. He's currently just inside the P10, in P10. Martin Lofthouse behind him, followed by Alan Dawson, Dean Flavelle, Matt Shanahan, Jacob O'Reilly, who has made his first compulsory pit stop, down in 15th, followed by Zach Rattray White. So I think Jacob's been able to jump Rattray White after that early pit stop, so that's one thing that's paid off with that. Oh no, Rattray White's just got back past him. Got Sean McNamara in the pits now, along with his teammate Scotty Gamble. So that's the first of their compulsory stops done. James Scott's still our leader. He's got a 3.5 second over Dylan Rudd, lead over Dylan Rudd, followed by Robbie Gibbs. Adam Briggs, Brenton Hobson has made his way up into P5, followed by Dave Coleman, Greg Sharp. But this will even itself out a little bit once everybody makes that first compulsory stop. Currently on lap 21. We've often seen James Scott go quite long in his stints, and it looks to be the case again tonight. So Will Buchanan still doing a good job out in front of Martin Lofthouse. Will just comes into the pits now. Lofthouse follows him, so it's going to be interesting to see what their strategy is and if they both take on similar fuel loads here. Both cars up on the jacks at the moment. Robbie Gibbs has made his pit stop as well. Martin Lofthouse puts in a little bit less fuel than Will Buchanan by the looks at it, and is able to jump him in the pit lane. So car in order is James Scott, Dylan Rudd, Adam Briggs, who's in the pits as we speak, Brenton Hobson from Synergy Sim Racing as well in the pits, and then Dave Coleman, Greg Sharp, and Robbie Gibbs is the first of our cars on track that has made their first compulsory pit stop. Greg Sharp now in the pits as well. Briggs is off the Jackson going. Hobson not far off that as well. Hobson taking more fuel than his teammate. Hobson taking about 3 seconds more fuel. Only drivers that haven't taken that first compulsory pit stop: Russell Gander, Dave Coleman currently in P3, Dylan Rudd in P2, and James Scott in P1. Scott in the lane, as I just called that. Rudd in as well. Gibbs took 19 seconds worth of fuel. Rudd currently sitting at 15 seconds worth of fuel. Both drivers on their way out of the pits. I've got a feeling Gibbs is going to be able to sneak past Dylan Rudd here, and he has, and he's not that far off the back of James Scott. James Scott taking 20 seconds worth of fuel. Dylan Rudd only taken 16 seconds worth of fuel, so not sure what happened with Dylan in that pit stop, but that is a pretty significant difference there. Reviewed his pit stop, looked clean, looked like he didn't miss his pit box or anything, so just goes to show you how powerful that undercut is on fresh tyres around here. Robbie Gibbs was able to make a significant amount of time in between his stop and Dylan Rudd's stop, so Robbie Gibbs in P2 now with no clouds hanging over his head from race control. Zach Blasbaum, P12, currently got Anthony Visma in front of him. Anthony doing a good job tonight. He's up 5 spots. Dave Coleman just in front, but Dave's in the pit, so Dave falls behind these two. Coleman taking nearly 27 seconds worth of fuel, so I'm guessing his next stop's going to be basically tyres only. So Dave's gone from inside the top 10 down to P18 after that pit stop. Blasbaum chasing down Anthony Visma. Lap times are pretty close, only a couple of hundredths in between their last lap, so with Visma being slightly quicker. So Blasbaum got a bit of work to do to get onto the back of Visma. Visma driving well. Blasbaum is up 2 spots and Anthony Visma's up 6. And right behind Blasbaum we've got Ty Delaney.
And he is flying. Young Ty, sorry about that, Mark. Didn't mean to throw you in like that. Just when the CEO calls, the CEO calls.
That's okay.
Ty doing really well. They're sitting in 12th. He has gotten his pit stop out of the way like everybody else except for Russell Gander. So the race now starting to settle into this second phase. Might just have a quick look at the fuel numbers just so that we can all get a bit of idea. Big save there from Ty. Have a bit of an idea at how much fuel everyone's taken on. And we can see Dylan Rudd very short filling there with a 15-second stop, 15.8. Scott and Gibbs going about that 19 to 20-second mark. McNamara a little bit under. And Hobson going big with Retro White. And Delaney went 25 seconds. So expect Delaney going the big fuel save already. Expect him to work his way back through when this next stop happens. Great to hear the young guy has got the old fuel saving technique pretty much down pat, Mark.
Yeah, well, he's got a great teacher and his father Blake, one of the best fuel savers out there in the iRacing, Australian iRacing community at least. Yeah, his ability to, you know, hold that clutch and not use much fuel is quite incredible.
And just doing it there, coming over Leaky Heights down into MG. That is gutsy to do it in that part of the track. Most of us are struggling to hang on at that stage. letting Vlasbom get away a little bit there, going through the final corner. Heading down the Dillon Straight now. And you can hear the big lift. Engine goes quiet and he's run wide. Can he hang on? Oh, lucky recovery. And Adam Briggs involved in an accident, Mark. We might go to the Supercheap Auto replay for that. Not very often see Briggsy involved in something. This is coming down into Miller. He's blown his engine. Luckily, he can run it straight into the car park. So that will be interesting to see whether that leads us to a safety car this time. Let's jump on board Adam Briggs. He's still parked up down in the corner. Well and truly offline though. That'll be interesting to see.
I think he's in pretty safe play. James Scott on the blower now.
Not sure what that's about. We'll find out. Barella on the blower as well. Safety car is still in pit lane from what I can see, because we just go to that one. So back to someone else. Let's have a look what's going on with Scott. He looks like he's under control. Definitely Barella on the radio still. Not sure exactly what's going on. That car there at Miller could be in a precarious position.
I think James Scott a little bit annoyed with John Fillingham. They're not obeying the blue flags. I'm not sure John had too many places he could go in between MG and down the front row. But James losing a heap of time in that exchange.
And Briggs towed back to the pits, so it will be no safety car. A lap 28 of 57 at the moment. So, of course, if you're playing the split strategy, be lap 38 will be when you'll be looking to make that next move into the pit lane. Probably expect Dylan Rudd to be the first one to blink.
Yeah, well, Dylan was the shortest fill on all our front runners. Dave Coleman was the one of the longest. Matt Shanahan looked like he was the longest with about 33 seconds of fuel, but it depends on their starting fuel as well. Dave Coleman was in the lane for 26.5 seconds, or stationary for 26.5 seconds, so I expect Dave to have a fairly short second stop.
And jump on here with Russell Gander. He's having a great little battle with Stephen Tonkin. That's, of course, the battle back for 23rd, 24th. Looks like Tonks got past. Definitely happening. Stone Street is being chased down here by Alan Dawson. It's just be another great little battle. Stone Street up 5 spots, one of our hardest charges, along with Dean Flavelle back in 19th.
Yeah, Dean starting from pit lane has done a great job out there. He's up 8 spots inside the top 20, so well done to Dean.
McNamara and Gamble nose to tail here. We saw this early on in the first stage of the race. And McNamara yielding in the end to Gamble.
Yeah, not sure if Sean's just struggling with tyres in the middle phase of his stint out there. He seems to be just struggling on the tyre set as the laps count down on the tyre stint. So Scotty Gamble doing a good job out there. He got past earlier, but then made a little bit of a mistake down into Miller and allowed Sean back through. But at the moment, looks like Scotty Gamble's got the upper hand on the team boss.
And Dawson here with the big move on Stone Street. Got the run on him there. Let's jump back up. James Scott, Dylan Rudd, nicely getting the slipstream here as well. And pulling away a little bit from Robert Gibbs now.
And so Gibbs pitting on lap 21, Dylan Rudd and James Scott pitting on lap 25. So Gibbs' tyres a little bit older, a little bit more worn, so probably contributing to the fact that the boys in front are making a little bit of ground on him, but I expect that to change come second pit stop because as we talked about earlier, Dylan Rudd was only stationary for 16 seconds, Robbie Gibbs was 19 seconds. So that 3-second difference could come into play in that second phase.
And we jump on board here with Rattray, White and O'Reilly. So the two Vermeulen cars tucked up together.
Yeah, I think it's Zach Rattray White's first race with us at East Coast here, doing a fantastic job tonight. Well inside the top 10 there. He's up 2 spots in P7. Got Brenton Hobson in front of him. A little bit up the road. How far have we got? He's about 6 or 7 seconds up the road. So a little bit of work to do there for Zach to get on the back of Hobson, but I'm sure as time counts down, they will slowly make their way towards him. But James doing a good job there, getting out of the way of the boys, Jacob O'Reilly and Rattray White, to let them get on with their race.
Let's jump back on here with Vlasbom and Delaney. These two having a great little ding-dong battle here as well. Dawson and Stone Street only 2.5 seconds back from these guys, so they can't afford the battle too much.
Oh, and they got Anthony Visma up the road from them. Anthony's about, what is he, 3 seconds up the road, so out of tow distance at the moment. Anthony doing a good job. He's up 7 spots, so that's good driving there from Anthony.
Yeah, doing really well from the Viz. The leading hard charge driver at the moment.
Because Ty Delaney and Vlasbom, they've had a pretty staunch battle from the outset here. They've changed places a few times, and we've seen a few lockups into Miller from each driver, allowing the other one to get sneaked through. So, yeah, they're really putting the pressure on there on each other and having a great battle.
But definitely taking it to each other. Looking forward to seeing how this one plays out over the next 20 or so laps, Mark.
Yep, so we've got 25 laps to go at the moment. So probably half a dozen laps off the next round of pit stops. So yeah, it's going to be, everything's going to count, like be crunch time in that second pit stop, just to see how much fuel people need and where they can pop out in the field.
Oh, that's Visma going wide in Southern Loop there, Mark.
Just that, after all that good work, he's made that one mistake that's...
That car's stopping.
Yeah, I don't know whether...
He's popped on an engine. No engine noise.
Yeah, it looks like he's popped that motor.
Oh no, that is heartbreaking for him. The old commentator's curse again.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a 100% record on that.
That don't sound healthy.
Just popped it on a downshift there into turn one. So bad luck for his mate. In such a strong position in the championship too, and really racing well tonight. It's something that he doesn't need.
Yeah, and of course, not well enough up yet to get the 75% race distance as well. So that's going to hurt going with 0 points.
Yeah, he's been given permission to tow. He was well and truly off track there.
It's getting a little excited. I think we might have been about to see the safety car.
Yeah, we don't. It's one place we don't, with big runoff areas, you don't often see safety cars on this track, unless somebody's stranded in a precarious position. But it is a track we've seen plenty of blown motors at before, so yeah, we've still got a long way to go, and a safety car is still a possibility.
Hey, just gonna look a little bit further back again. Up back to Steve Tonkin. He's hunting down John Fillingham in front of him. Russell Gander hanging on to that group still. And Greg Sharp is under a lot of pressure from Delaney coming down the hill. Not Delaney, sorry, from Coleman.
Yep, Dave doing a good job out there. He's up 6 spots, so is Greg Sharp. So them boys are really having a good drive tonight, and Stone Street in front of them, he's up 5 spots. So all them boys really doing an exceptional job tonight. Just looking at Robbie Gibbs, he's about 3 seconds behind Dylan Rudd, which is roughly the time difference in their first pit stop. So that battle for P2 is going to be interesting come this second pit stop phase.
Which I don't think it'll be too far away, Mark. I think we'll see that in the next 5 laps. Just going to check on Jacob O'Reilly. Still running with his teammate Rattray White.
Yeah, it's been a long, hard battle for Jacob after having that off early on in the race. He dropped a ton of positions, and he's really had to work hard to get it back inside the top 10, but he's done an admirable job to get back to P8. Still 21 laps to go, so still got a possibility to climb a little bit further up the leaderboard.
And Alan Dawson and Troy Stone Street about to get involved in this Blasbom Delaney battle. So it could be a bit of excitement coming soon. Let's stay with this group for a minute. Into the southern loop. Part of the circuit where you got to be very patient. Oh, a little bit of a twitch from Blasbom. Another twitch there. It's let Delaney through. But it manages to hang on in Siberia. Too wide.
Hard to get the power down on the inside there, and Delaney with the box seat at the moment.
Yeah.
Blasbom's managed to hang on. Good driving from Blasbom. He would have really struggled to get the power down there, but he hung in there and defended stoutly, and he's been able to hang on. This is closed everybody right up onto each other. So anything's going to happen in this battle group now.
I was about to say Stone Street's the best seat in the house. He's on Stone Street's car watching this unfold in front of him.
Absolutely. Troy Stone Street, massive improvement from this guy. He's only come to the V8's not that long ago, and the improvement has just been incredible to see him battling just outside the top 10 in such a competitive series.
Put it in perspective, this time last year he was in split 3 of vets.
There you go. So yeah, what an incredible improvement from a driver, and we're talking about an over 40 person here, so you're not talking about a young whippersnapper who's got all the time in the world and plenty of skills and ability to learn fast. But us old people, takes a little bit of time to get things going. Ty Delaney trying to get up the inside of Miller again. He's got it done this time.
What can Vlasbom do going up through the hay shed to Lukey Heights? Can he set himself up for an attack at MG?
So this 4-car battle pack, we've got complete opposite ends of the spectrum here. We've got Ty Delaney, very, very young boy. He's not even sure if he's a teenager yet. And then we've got Troy Stone Street at the back of this battle pack, who's at the other end of the spectrum.
He's pulling away a little bit. So interesting to see whether Vlasbom's hurt his tyres in that battle up.
Yeah, I'll let you know, John, you only got to get sideways a little bit in these cars, and it really, really heats the tyres up quick, and it takes a lap or two for them tyres to recover, and you've got to make sure you don't keep bagging them up, otherwise you end up in all sorts of hurt.
They are still all bunched up together.
It looks like Vlasbom's just got the car settled again, and he's back on his way without too many issues. So he's going to be looking to bounce back. Like we said earlier, these two boys, Delaney and Vlasbom, they've exchanged places quite a few times tonight, so I'm sure they're enjoying their racing together. Vlasbom just really struggling under throttle.
The tyres will be getting to the end of this stint, I think.
Yeah, car really, really twitchy under throttle, so...
An opportunity for our reigning Super 2 champion, Alan Dawson, to make a move here on Vlasbom. He's just got to pick his timing right.
Yeah, you can see just a couple of twitches, and Ty Delaney's been able to open up a 2 or 3 car length gap on Vlasbom, whereas just before them little twitches, he was right under his rear wing. He's still struggling with that car.
Dawson looking for a good drive out of the final corner here to get the run down and Doohan straight. Sorry, Gardner straight, heading down the Doohan. Must be running some reasonably low aero. No one's taken their second stop yet, Steve. We've got a couple in there, but they have been in there for a fair while.
Yeah, I think you're right there, John. Vlasbom may be just running quite a low downforce, and that's why he's struggling under acceleration out of these tight corners. So that gap between Gibbs and Rudd now is blown out to just over 4.5 seconds or thereabouts. So Rudd and Scott being able to just forge their way ahead. Rudd sitting under James Scott's wing, being able to pick up that toe down the straight. So just being able to edge away lap after lap. So this second, like we said earlier, this second round of pit stops is going to be very interesting in terms of how much fuel people need and whether Dylan Rudd might try and underfill a little bit just to keep that track position.
We've just seen O'Reilly, Vlasbom, Stone Street, and Flavel and Fillingham, I think, may already have been in there heading into the pits. So starting to see this second stop starting to unravel.
So we're on lap 40. We've got 17 laps to go here.
The race leaders getting past a few of the guys coming out of the pits. James Scott definitely increasing that lead by a little bit. And McNamara right up the back behind Gamble again. So these two definitely towing each other along a bit, I think.
Yeah, solid drives from these two boys. Just haven't quite had the pace of Gibbs, Rudd and Scott. Not that far off, but you don't have to be far off to see that gap open up in front of you.
We've just seen Dawson, Lofthouse and Buchanan into the pit lane now as well. And
the fuel burn around here, John's roughly around 3.4 litres a lap when you're not fuel saving. So fuel burn's relatively high.
it's definitely a high-speed circuit. I think people underestimate when they look at it, but not realising that a lot of these corners, like you're doing 200 kilometres an hour, 140, 150 coming onto the main straight. Full noise sweeping through Stoner and then into Miller under full brakes. Of course, circuit predominantly been designed for motorbikes, so more fast sweeping corners than straights. Just going to check on Dean Flavel, who's up 7 spots at the moment after his second stop. Catching up to Russell Gander. And Scott Gamble still got McNamara tucked up behind as we wait with anticipation for the top 10 to come in and roll out their final stops. And then we'll
Gamble's
see.
in.
Yeah, Gamble's in, yep. McNamara's in, Hobson's in. Now we're going to start to see how this all settles.
Of course, Jake O'Reilly is the first of our runners at the moment. He's in P12. He's the first of our runners that made 2 stops. So it'd be interesting to see where he pops out in relation to these 3 guys once they come out of the pit lane.
It will be very interesting to see this unfold as he comes down into MG at the moment. McNamara, Gamble. Hobson's going to jump them all. Hobson coming out of the pit first here, Mark. Definitely a battle here and a half. Hobson going to roll out in 5th. Gamble in 6th. McNamara 7th. Coleman in 8th. He's still got to make his stop.
Can't remember on Hobson's first stop, but I think he stopped relatively long compared to the others.
So Rudd is now in. Gamble is only 2 seconds behind Hobson. That was a hell of a jump. Hobbo, another one who's also well known for fuel saving.
Ty Delaney's out as well. He's come out just behind James Scott. Young Ty will be able to sit back and watch James Scott and see how he goes about making his lap time around here.
Yeah, definitely a good little battle in itself. Looking forward to seeing how this starts to play out with a few of these other guys. Hobson waiting for Rudd to roll out. Of course, Rudd was the short filler last time. And Hobson has jumped him. Not sure what's going on with Dylan. But he's been...
Dylan was stationary for 23 seconds and Hobson was stationary for 14.8. So that's where the difference is there, John.
Interesting. Sharp is in the pits.
James Scott just heads into pit lane as well.
We'll see how this rolls out. Gibbs has gone with him. Rattray White still coming up through the backside of the circuit. O'Reilly, he's tucked up behind Mulford at the moment, but Mulford still has to stop. He'll be looking to make light work with his fresh tyres here. Oh, contact, Maluse Mulford.
Yeah, I don't think there was contact. I think Riley avoided him, but yeah, Mulford getting sideways there.
And
Tim just backing off there and letting Jacob through. So nice work there from Tim.
Man, Dylan Rudd picks off Dave Coleman. Coleman, of course, still has to stop as well. So does our race leader, Zach Rattray White.
The old Fox, Brenton Hobson, he's managed to jump everybody in that round of pit stops, and he's currently sitting in P4 with Rattray White still to make his second stop, which will place Brenton Hobson on the podium thus far with 12 and a half laps to go.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting finish here, I think, as Coleman and Mulford roll into the pits as well. We'll see how those two pan out when they leave pit lane.
Dylan Rudd a long way back. He's still 5 seconds off the back of Scotty Gamble. So I know Dylan will have fresher tyres than the boys in front, and he's got superior pace, but it's going to be a long way back with only 12 laps to go, John, for Dylan.
Yeah, it is a long way. A long, long way. And, of course, James Scott is under pressure from Robert Gibbs as well. Not a very good middle stint from the Lob Esports boys by the looks, Mark.
Yeah, well, James Scott, his second stop was 25.8. Robert Gibbs was 20. So I'm surprised James needed that much fuel. Because he did have a reasonably long first stop as well. He was up around 21 seconds.
Yeah, he was on par with most for that first stop.
Yeah,
Rudd was the short filler, and everyone else was around that 18 to 20 seconds.
Maybe that just could have been a mistake on the amount of fuel they needed in this third stint. So anyway, I'm sure we'll hear from James at some point post-race. But definitely giving Robbie Gibbs a sniff here, and Robbie's just tucked up right behind James Scott at the moment, and Robbie will not need a second invitation if the opportunity arises.
Yeah, definitely seeing some good pressure driving. We'll see what James Scott's made of this evening as he rolls through. Brenton Hobson a further 10 seconds back from these guys, but he's 2.5 seconds ahead of Sean McNamara. So with only a handful of laps left, we're interesting to see if Hobson can hang on to that third spot on the podium.
Yeah, at the moment their lap times are almost identical, so going to be hard for Sean to make that ground up unless he finds some more pace there. Dylan Rudd was the quickest out of them 4 drivers, Hobson, McNamara and Gamble, by about 0.4 of a second. So Dylan's definitely got the pace, but I think he's going to struggle to find his way back towards the podium with only 10.5 laps to go.
Might just go back, have a look at a few of these other battle packs. Gamble is less than a second behind McNamara. Sorry, it's going to go back up the front. This gap just closed right up all of a sudden.
Now, yeah, Gibbsy's picking up a nice tow from James Scott here, so James is really going to have to work very, very hard to break. I'm not sure he's going to be able to break the toe of Robbie. We saw in the first stint until the contact between Gibbs and Rudd that Robbie Gibbs was able to match the pace of the 2 Lobby Sports cars in the tow. So I think James is going to, you know, he might make a car length or 2, but I don't think it's going to get much further than that.
It definitely has to work for it tonight. Ooh, this is tight. I was talking with the boss of VRT. This is their home track. I'd be looking for the chocolates here tonight.
And of course, these 2 boys both pitted on lap 44, so their tyres are identical in terms of wear, so there's no advantage to either the driver there. Down to just over 9 laps to go. We've got James Scott, Robbie Gibbs, Brenton Hobson, Sean McNamara, Scott Gamble, Dylan Rudd, Jacob O'Reilly, Zach Rattray White, Ty Delaney and Toy Stone Street is your top 10. So great job there for Stone Street to get inside the top 10, and he's up 7 spots.
And then Vlasbom in 11th, up to Sharp and Coleman 12, 13, up 7 spots as well. And then we go all the way back to 18th, and our biggest mover of the night, Dean Flavelle.
Yeah, Dean doing an epic job. Started out of pit lane. Not sure how many races Dean's done with us. Is this his first
No,
race?
this is Dean's first. Took a little bit of arm bending over the weekend to get him to come over a drive. So good to see going
Dean,
well.
Yep, Dean playing it safe in his first race. Didn't qualify. Started out of pit lane. Just wanted to keep his nose clean. And that arm bending was well worth it for him because he's up 9 spots inside the top 20, and for somebody starting that far back, that's not a bad job. I'm just getting James Scott.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Blinky Bill showing up. Hopefully he's not about to lose his internet connection.
We've had a lot of issues with internet from a lot of people all over the country of late, so fingers crossed it's just a minor glitch and we don't lose James into the ether of the Australian National Broadband Network.
Yeah, definitely it's late in the race. Less than 10 laps to go. These 2 drivers shaping up for what will be a cracker of a finish. And a few other little tight battles around as well. We'll come back to that one. We've got O'Reilly and Rattray White both battling very hard with each other at the moment, trying to hunt down Ty Delaney in front of them. Sorry. Trying to hunt down Jacob O'Reilly. And they are 13 seconds from Dylan Rudd. Sorry, a little bit caught out by the car in front being lapped.
Yeah, we've got Ty Delaney behind Rattray White. Like I said earlier, Jacob O'Reilly, another great drive. He went off very early in the race, went all the way down to around 20th position. He's been able to battle his way back into 7th. So Jacob showing what a class driver he is, and he's under all sorts of pressure, but from the debutant for East Coast, Zach Ray White. Looks like Zach's going to get it down the inside, but they're not giving each other anything here. Clearly no team orders in this team.
Yeah, definitely some hard racing. And this time does he get the job done coming through Siberia. Got the power down nicely.
Couple of corners here where you do not want to be out in the marbles because it will just help you drift off the track.
And tucked back in behind. Great driving by O'Reilly to hang on there.
Yeah, great lesson for everybody out there watching, that you can race side by side if you just give each other a little bit of space, and you can just enjoy the fact that you don't have to make contact. You just got to give that metre of space and you can race side by side.
And down through doing. I believe these boys might just check in on our old mate Dave Coleman. He's nicely tucked up behind Zach Vlasblom from Vermeulen Motorsports. Greg Sharp hanging on to the back of these guys as well.
Yeah, Zach's probably the only Vermeulen Motorsport car I'm not getting an updated livery on. Dave Coleman doing a great job. He's up 8 spots into P12, so he started P20. He's had a pretty solid night's racing. Hope I don't curse him.
Yeah, I think Coleman would be pretty happy with this one. Don't rule out Sharp latching onto the back of this battle before the end. And Scotty Gamble still tucked up behind team boss McNamara.
Blast bomb with a big lock up, gets sideways. Oh, just almost takes Sharp with him, but manages to hang on. Sharp gets through, and Coleman's through. So Blast bomb down to 13th, Coleman up into 11th, Sharp into 12th. So good drive again from Greg Sharp as well. He's up 7. Blast bomb just clearly struggling on corner exit and entry. Not sure if that downforce is something he's struggling with, but he's not had his best night of racing.
Yeah, definitely. Ooh, manages to hang on to it there, just. Definitely working very hard at it. As we jump back on with these two still battling away side by side.
Yeah, just back to Zach. He's a very, very good driver, very solid driver. We've seen him drive with us for a full season, into his 2nd season now, and he's always rock solid, but tonight he's just struggled on that corner exit.
Yeah, you know, Lewis Greathead saying Vermeulen have an esports team which Zach and Jacob are running, and that's why they're in the standard livery. So there's obviously 2 parts of the Vermeulen Motorsports. Just going to check in on McNamara. Dylan Rudd getting into the back of Gamble now. This is going to be a great little battle at the end of your 2, Mark. Plenty to watch.
Dylan, we know he's got the speed, but it's going to be. He might make a couple of more places here, but definitely too far back to get onto the podium, I think, unless there's a mistake from somebody. Only 4.5 laps to go.
as Gamble goes through and Rudd. So McNamara obviously losing a bit of speed here. You can see what happens with Rudd. Of course, Brenton Hobson is about 4.5 seconds up the road from these guys. Don't expect Gamble to move off out of the way for Rudd. Rudd will have to work for this. Drive though, coming through the final corner on the Gardner.
Yeah, Dylan got a good exit there. Gamble going defensive early.
Just to hang on. What Gamble really needs now is for McNamara to latch under the back to keep that little bit of pressure on Dylan Rudd. Go Rudd on the inside of Miller. Hangs onto it. Gets the job done.
Surprised Scott Gamble kept the door as wide open as he did there.
And
Rudd finally through just as they go past the hay shed.
coming down into MG. Does Gamble come up the inside with a big dive? Doesn't get it done. Looks like Rudd maybe all right. We'll stay with these guys. It's down the end of the straight. Rusty Gander involved in something there, pulling into race
It
control.
looks like he's stationary at turn 4.
And he has stopped off the line. He's blown his motor too, I'd say.
Just on the exit of turn 4, so that's a precarious position. 3.5 laps to go. I'm not sure what race control's going to do here.
We'll leave that one to race. Just jump back. Here's our race leaders. Nose to tail still between Scott and Gibbs. So you'll get given a tow pretty quick, would be my guess at this stage of the race.
Yep, he's been given permission to 2. Rattray White and Jacob O'Reilly still side by side. So Dylan Rudd's still 5 seconds behind Brenton Hobson with only 2.5 laps to go. So unless Brenton makes a major error somewhere, I can't see Dylan Rudd closing that down. James Scott still working as hard as he's ever worked in this series, I think, to keep Robbie Gibbs behind.
Great drive from Robbie this evening. Of course, penultimate lap. We'll see how this rolls out in the next circuit and a half.
Yeah, would definitely be interested to see if James Scott overfilled on that last stint.
Definitely something you would not want him to doing here next Wednesday night when the Pro Series returns here.
No, that's for sure. That's a series where you have to dot your I's and cross your T's, otherwise you get eaten up and spat out very quickly.
As coming down into MG for the second and last time, Gibbs tucked right up behind again. So So about to take the flag for the last lap. Robbie Gibbs has been stuck behind the Speed Cafe Lobs Esports entry of James Scott for the bulk of this second stint. Final stint. But James has managed to hang on. But has not been as comfortable as what we usually see from him.
We did see James lose a fair bit of time, a good 3 seconds, two seconds, maybe with blue flag situation where the car didn't get out of the way. So that cost James significantly, but once again he has done everything right. He's qualified on pole, got a great start, and he basically led from race start to race finish. Only got a handful of corners to go now. Not even a handful, 2 corners.
And coming around into the final bend, our Supercheap Auto East Coast round 4 victor will be James Scott from Lobs Esport. Robbie Gibbs tucked up a second behind. And then it's this bloke. Done a Hail Mary of a pit stop again. Gets himself home on the podium. Brenton Hobson. Let's see what tidbits Hobbo's got for us. Dylan Rudd will be home in 4th. Scotty Gamble in 5th. 6th will be the one and only Sean McNamara. Jacob O'Reilly has got himself past Retro White. Retro White sideways around that final corner. Great driving from these boys, unveiling the new Doohan Vermeulen Motorsports livery. And Ty Delaney, the minnow. He's going to fight out a hard-charging Stone Street. He's up 7 spots for 9 and 10. Troy gets himself into the top 10. Great drive from him. Davey Coleman up 9 spots for 11th. Greg Sharp will be 12th. 13th will be Zach Vlasbom from Vermeulen Motorsports. Timmy Mulford involved in something. We might just go to the replay, see what's happened there on the last lap. And well, a little bit of a tap from one of the locked up, I think Martin Lofthouse. So definitely a few things there at the end, Mark. I think our hardest charge up 10 spots in the 17th was Dean Flavel. So you can see what a few of these boys have got to say for themselves when they come and have a chat to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great drives there tonight. Troy Stone Street up 7 spots into the top 10. Dave Coleman just outside the top 10, 11 up 9. Greg Sharp up 7, so some good drive. But Brenton Hobson, great strategy. Just like I said, the wily old fox, he pulled one out of the hat there and made up 5 spots to get himself on the podium with a great pit strategy.
Yeah, I think Hobbo will be pretty happy with himself tonight. Yeah, definitely good to see Hobbo with a nice result, getting himself back in the play. And we'll definitely work ourselves out in a minute when the boys come and have a chat. Looks like Reg Jones got a little tap from somebody. Looks like from Ty Delaney.
Yeah, pretty interesting night of racing, John. James Scott definitely didn't have it all his own way like he has had in previous races where he's been able to edge out that gap and just march away from the field. Tonight he was held to account pretty solidly by Robbie Gibbs and his teammate most of the race. So, yeah, James had to work a lot harder than he has in previous weeks.
Yeah, it is good to see that pressure has come. We've been waiting for it, and now that it's here, it will be very interesting to see where it all plays out. And of course, next week we're at Watkins Glen. I think I've just got to double check what format Scops is running. It's Scops week next week. I believe it was originally the boot, but it may have been changed to the cup, so I'll confirm that this week. As we'll have a quick chat with the man in second place. First, Robbie Gibbs, mate. Well done on a P2.
Yeah, thanks, mate. That was a good race. Don't know how I ended up there, but I will take that for a reward.
Oh, you were keeping the pressure on them fairly early, and Dylan went for a very short fuel stop on that first one. So I think you did well to sort of playing out the strategy on that one. Probably not as well as Hobbo. We need to find out what Hobbo did because I got no idea how he jumped the whole field. But yeah, that was a good move. Of course, as I was saying in the broadcast, this is a home track for the ERT boys. Did you have the mastermind spotting this evening?
He jumped in with about 10 to go.
So credit to him.
Nah, I was the strategic mastermind this time.
I'm sure he'll tell me different.
I'll have to write it down because I don't know what I did.
So it's a good little hit out. And James, you're under a bit of pressure there for a while, mate.
Yeah, a bit of a draft track and fuel calculator playing some tricks with me, but yeah, no, long stop at the end because of that. But yeah, no, it was a good race.
Did you overfill in that last stint, Joan? Because that was the feeling I got commentating that your stop was longer than I thought you would have needed.
No, well, no, I had to fuel save, but what actually happened was it unticked my fuel. Like after I had like I pitted and then it filled up and I had 3 laps left in the car and then for some reason unticked and dropped my car down and then I don't know, I was on the freaking pit lane for a couple of seconds before I realised sort of what was going on and get the thing back up fueling again. So
okay,
lost a fair bit of time there.
Oh, made the finish interesting for us anyway. And
yeah, the car we went a bit of a different direction with the car and me and Dylan didn't really like it. So back to the drawing board. See what the boys can come up with for next week.
no, it's still got some time to get yourselves organised.
Yeah, plenty of time.
So Hobbo, what the hell did you do?
My beard's got to wizard length, so now I can use magic. No, I was I had a little race going there with Sean and Scott, and I sort of intentionally put myself a little bit off strategy with them. I think that my tyre was a little bit better on the long run, so I took a little bit extra fuel at the first stop to give myself some space behind them to try and drive up to the back of them, which I did, and then at the next stop I had a bit of a shorter fuel drop, so I managed to sort of undercut them there in the pits and come out in front. But I don't know how I ended up third. That's a mystery in itself. But I had a good race with those guys, and I mean, I probably needed a decent drive tonight because I've been pretty hopeless the last couple of weeks, and I haven't really been putting in the effort required to be good in this car. So to turn up tonight and sort of land a decent result, this has been my last laps in this car before the Pro Series here next week. So, probably needed to get a decent result for just a little bit of confidence. And yeah, we'll march on to next week and see how things go.
Good luck with that one. Does anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Of course there is. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody down at the team. It's good fun. Unlucky for Briggsy tonight. He had pretty good pace at the start. Not quite sure what happened to him. I think he might have blew up or something.
Yeah, blew an engine.
But shout out to the guys at the team. They put a setup together for me to have a run on, and it did all right. So that was good. Sponsors, Watercraft Performance Center, Dr. Epoxy, Works Racing Components, all the rest of them. Obviously, all the admins in the league here for putting it all together and giving us a series to run, and to yourselves as well for our broadcast. I'm sure it was great.
Yeah, it was. Because of you guys. Robbie, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, just the usual suspects, ERT, Logitech, and I'll give Brenton some credit tonight. And obviously broadcast team and admin, as Brenton said, always doing a good job.
And how about your buddy teammate throwing that little XL around the mountain on the weekend? What a great job for Ethan as well.
He's not half bad, is he?
Not half bad. And James, anyone you want to give a shout out to, mate?
Yeah, I wish all the guys at Lobs Esports, Speed Cafe, Ryko, Shane, Brody, Jared, Luke, Dylan, all the guys working behind the scenes to make the cars faster. Appreciate it. And you guys for the broadcast and the series admin guys as well.
Thank you, mate. And as I said, we can't do it without you guys. And of course, next week we will be at Watkins Glen. I've got to double confirm because I can't remember what Scott's changed to. I think we're doing the cup instead of the boot. We'll work that one out in the week. So, what's the thoughts about going back to Watkins?
The long way out's better. Definitely.
Yeah. Anyway, we're just going to match Scops so these guys get a bit of a hit out, I think is what the story is, following the officials. And of course, Mark, huge thank you for you, mate, for jumping in and covering for me when I had to take a phone call.
No problem, John.
And a huge thank you, of course, to our race control team. Of course, for those at home, probably don't realise that our DSO / safety car driver tonight got himself a P2 on the podium in Class D at the 6 hour on the weekend. So nice of Dave to back up after that and come and join us. And a huge thank you, of course, to the admin team. Huge thank you to everybody out who watches us week in and week out. Love you guys out there in the chat, seeing what's going on. And, of course, a huge thank you to the drivers. These blokes put on a great show every week, which makes it very easy for us to do what we do. And on that note, we will say good night and see everybody again next week. Night all.
There's no arguing that people love their cars.
We weren't arguing.
They talk about their cars, sing about their cars. Some people even look like their car. Whether it's an old car, new old car, fast car, family car, electric car, race car, two-wheel car, no-wheel car, or a car you know's parked around here somewhere. People who love their cars love to tinker with them. Some people tinker big, some people tinker small. Some people tinker some degree between those two variables.
Whose voice is that?
And that's where Supercheap Auto comes in. We've been helping people tinker for 50 years. For people like Bill, Lucy, Kevin, other Kevin.
Oi, get off my car!
Didn't catch this guy's name.
It's Kevin.
Not Patrick. He doesn't shop with us. Whoever you are, whatever you drive, we'll help you make it super. Because super is our middle name. Well, technically it's our first.